Hey, history rebels, did you know? In 1914, one wild paycheck from a quirky car genius yanked 500,000 black families out of southern chains and exploded America's first black middle class overnight. Picture this: smokestacks belching fire, assembly lines chewing men alive, but then, boom, $5 a day rains down like manna, turning sharecroppers into homeowners, factory slaves into fat cat foremen. Today, we're ripping open the vaults of forgotten letters, worker logs, and dusty ledgers to reveal how Henry Ford's generous gamble accidentally shattered racial walls and built black wealth like never before. Buckle up, this ride's got heroes, spies in your kitchen, riots at the gates, and a twist that'll flip your brain. Your big promise. By the end, you will see why one wage war rewrote Black America and wonder if it's happening again right now. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're just getting started on these forbidden history bombs. Let's rewind to 1913, that gritty year when Detroit wasn't just a city, it was a roaring beast, a muddy boomtown where the population exploded like popcorn in a hot skillet, jumping from 500,000 souls to nearly 1 million in just a decade. Factories dotted the skyline like iron giants, belching smoke that turned the sky gray and the lungs black. At the heart of it all, Henry Ford's Highland Park plant, a sprawling fortress of steel and steam that birthed the modern age, but at a cost no one saw coming. This wasn't a workplace. It was a torture chamber on steroids, a relentless machine designed to spit out cars, but devouring men in the process. Picture it: 13,000 souls, mostly fresh off the boat Europeans, Irish lads with calloused hands from potato fields, Polish families fleeing pogroms, Italians dreaming of gold-paved streets, chained to the world's first moving assembly line. It wasn't a line, it was a serpent, slithering endlessly, demanding precision under the glare of electric bulbs that buzzed like angry hornets. One car every 93 minutes, that's the rhythm, the heartbeat of industrial hell. Tires flung overhead like missiles from catapults, crashing down with thudding menace. Rivets screamed as pneumatic guns drove them home, echoing like gunfire in a war zone. The air, thick with the stench of oil slicks, pooling on concrete floors, mixed with the acrid temps of molten metal and the sour bite of unwashed despair. Sweat poured off brows, mixing with grime to form rivers down backs, and the heat, oh, the heat from forges that glowed like dragon's breath, turned the place into a subterranean sauna where men gasped for air that tasted like rust. These workers, these everyday heroes and hollow-eyed drones, they bolted after 3 days, sometimes 2, their spirits fracturing under the monotony that crushed souls like a vice. Imagine the repetition: screw the bolt, tighten, move on, hundreds of times an hour. Your world reduced to a single motion, your mind screaming for escape while your body betrayed you with exhaustion. Turnover, an insane 370% a year. That's not a statistic, that's a scream from the archives. Ford was hemorrhaging manpower, hiring 500 new men every single week just to keep 100 bodies on the line. Families back home starved on the $2.30 a day peanuts that barely covered bread and beans, while booze flowed like a river in the boarding houses, drowning sorrows and sparking brawls that left knuckles bloody and jaws wired shut. Fights erupted over nothing: a stolen sandwich, a sideways glance, the shared misery boiling over into chaos. Ford, that stern visionary, with his wire-rimmed glasses and unyielding gaze, watched his genius line choke on its own ambition, the conveyor belts groaning under the weight of half-built Fords, while the human fuel fled into the night. "We can't build cars if we're rebuilding crews every week," he growled one evening in his dimly lit office, pounding a fist on a ledger stained with coffee rings and ink blots. His voice, gravelly from years of shouting over engines, carried the weight of a man who saw efficiency as a religion. Enter the spark that would ignite it all. His right-hand man, James Couzens, a sharp-eyed accountant with a mind like a slash-adding machine, crunching numbers late into the night by the flicker of a gas lamp. "What if we pay him enough to stay?" he pondered, scribbling furiously. "Double the dough, from $2.30 to a princely $4.60 base. Cut the hours to 8, giving back a sliver of life to these walking dead, and a profit-sharing bonus for the good boys. Those who showed up sober, lived clean, built families instead of bar tabs." It was radical, bordering on reckless, but Couzens saw the math. Loyal workers meant steady output, meant cars flying off lots, meant rivers of cash. Boom. January 5th, 1914. The $5 day detonates like a powder keg in a powder mill. Not straight cash, mind you, no sir. Ford was too shrewd for that handout heaven. It was $2.30 base pay, still double the industry standard that kept competitors' lines sputtering, plus a tantalizing $2.70 bonus dangling like forbidden fruit, conditional on passing muster in Ford's moral ledger, but double anything else on offer. That was the siren call, echoing from headlines to hamlets. Crowds rioted at the gates the very next morning, a human tidal wave crashing against chain-link fences, men from every walk clawing for a chance at this golden goose. Fire hoses blasted back, arcs of icy water turning cobblestones to rivers, but they surged on, undeterred, their cries a chorus of desperation and hope. Applicants poured in like locusts, descending on a ripe field, overwhelming the hiring sheds until clerks' pens blistered. Turnover plummeted 80% in months, from epidemic to whisper. Ford, he was laughing all the way to the bank, his coffers swelling as profits skyrocketed 10x, turning his gamble into gospel for industrial titans worldwide. But here's the shocker, the twist that history books gloss over like a fender dent. This wage magnet did unjust snag whites with its gleam. It sucked in black Southerners by the trainload, a demographic dynamite Ford never fully intended but couldn't ignore. Why? Other factories slammed doors with iron bars and signs screaming "No collarats," a wall of prejudice thicker than Detroit steel. Ford, he shrugged, his pragmatism cutting through the bigotry. Show up sober, work hard, and you'll clock in. It was no manifesto of equality, just cold calculus in a hot labor market. But damn if it wasn't a game changer. A crack in the dam that would flood the North with ambition long bottled south of the Mason-Dixon. Down south, in the 1910s, the air hung heavy with the weight of chains, invisible but unbreakable. Jim Crow's boot stamped firmly on black necks, grinding dignity into dust. Lynchings weren't rare horrors. They were weekly rituals of terror, mobs gathering under magnolia trees with ropes and rage, leaving bodies swinging like warnings. Dangerous to breathe if you're young and black, recalls historian Dr. Richard Smith in his weathered memoirs, his voice trembling even decades later as he recounts tales from elders who survived the noose's shadow. Cotton fields stretched endless under a merciless sun, but the boll weevils, those tiny invaders from Mexico, devoured crops like locusts on steroids, turning bountiful harvests to barren regret. Sharecropping. It was debt slavery dressed in overalls, landowners tallying advances on seed and tools that ballooned into lifelong shackles. Families trapped in cycles where every bale picked paid pennies toward an ever-growing tab. Hope flickered dim as a candle in a storm, snuffed by poll taxes, literacy tests, and sundown towns where Blackfeet dared not tread after dark. Then the whispers spread, slithering through juke joints and church pews like gospel fire. Ford pays $5 to blacks. It wasn't rumor. It was revolution inked in the pages of the Chicago Defender, that bold black newspaper smuggled south like contraband, its ads blazing. The North calls, steady work, $5 a day, no discrimination. The Great Migration erupted, not as a trickle, but a torrent. Trains bulging at the seams, with dreamers from Alabama's red clay, Georgia's piney woods, Mississippi's Delta Blues heartland. Boxcars groaned under the weight of suitcases stuffed with Bibles, faded photos, and iron wills. Detroit's black population, a mere 5,741 in 1910, a whisper in the wind. By 1920, 40,838, a 600% boom that reshaped the city's soul, turning quiet corners into vibrant hubs, pulsing with new life. Michigan's Central Station became holy ground, a portal of promise, where Ford or bust echoed like a battle cry, porters dodging elbows as families spilled onto platforms slick with coal dust and anticipation. Meet Josiah Joe Washington, inspired by real migrants like John Lee Jefferson, whose own letters yellowed in family attics tell the same saga. A Georgia farm boy, 22 and wiry as a hickory switch. Joe hears the call one sweltering Sunday after church, the preacher thundering about Pharaoh's chains while the Defender lay open on the collection plate. Mama, $5 a day. We eat meat every night. No more cornbread and sorrow. His voice cracks with the weight of it, eyes wide as harvest moons. He sells his mule, that faithful beast who'd plowed the same furrow for years. For a fistful of crumpled bills, kisses his tear-streaked mother goodbye under a sky bruised purple, and hops a rattler north, the iron wheels clacking a rhythm of escape. The journey blurs, days of boxcar sway, nights huddled against strangers, sharing jerky and stories of up north where a man stands tall. Steps off in Detroit, snow shocks him like a slap, white flakes melting on skin browned by sun. But Ford's gate gleams in the distance like a beacon on Sinai. Hired day one, no questions beyond you, strong, you steady. Plunged into foundry hell, 100 degrees of infernal glow where hammers rang like judgment bells, soot-caking lungs till coughs rattled like gravel in a tin can. But that paycheck, magic woven from greenbacks, crisp and real. First month, buys boots that don't leak, leather tough as his resolve. Second, sends $20 home, a lifeline that buys mama medicine and little sister a dress for school. I'm free, he whispers to the stars, one frigid night, eyes on the horizon where smokestacks kiss the sky, dreaming of a table laden, a roof owned, a future unchained. By 1920, the tide had swelled, 5,000 blacks at Ford, their hands shaping the steel that would motor America. 1,926, 10,000 strong, the largest black employer in the nation, a colossus dwarfing steel mills and rail yards that still barred the door. Ford, ever the networker, bonded with black preachers. Fiery Reverend Robert L. Bradby, of Second Baptist Church, who funneled hundreds through his flock, smoothing white tensions with sermons that preached productivity as prayer. Equal pay for equal work wasn't charity. It was Ford's edge, a meritocracy in mufti, where skill trumped skin. No other plant dared open wide. GM whispered whites only, Chrysler hemmed with quotas, but Ford's doors swung, pulling in the bold, the desperate, the dreamers who turned the migration from exodus to empire. Inside those echoing halls, the battle began, not with fanfare, but grunt work. The dirtiest, deadliest gigs reserved for the new blood. Foundries, where Dante's Inferno made manifest, molten iron spitting fire like dragon's wrath, cranes swinging death overhead with loads that could crush a man to paste if the chain snapped. The roar drowned thoughts, the heat warped time till minutes stretched eternal. Shell-shocked husbands stumbled home at shift's end, eyes vacant as battlefield ghosts. Wives penning frantic letters to kin back south. He stares blank at the supper table. Nerves, fried like the wires in his head, comes in reeking of brimstone, coughs up black phlegm that stains the sheets. God, what have we traded for? But rise they did, these line warriors, climbing from the pit with grit forged hotter than the forges themselves. Joe, promoted to machinist in 18 after 2 years of flawless shifts, his hands now dancing with calipers instead of hammers, earning nods from white overseers who once looked through him. Real hero, Roosevelt Ford, yes, same last name, coincidence, fate's wry joke. Mississippi escapee in 1924, hopping freight trains through bayou nights, dodging bulls with a sack of cornbread and unquenchable fire, landed at the Rouge plant, that behemoth spanning 1,100 acres, a city unto itself with its own police and power plant. Freight train hero turned beast tamer, wrestling engines into submission. Wore his badge like a crown of thorns turned laurel. Respect flowed like the Rouge River, white boys tipping hats, calling boss without the sneer. His sons, first blacks, to crack Henry Ford trade school, tools in hand by dawn, blueprints by dusk, building not just cars but legacies. Grandkids, engineers, tweaking electric trucks today, their designs zipping silent through streets Joe once walked weary. John Lee Jefferson, Army vet from Georgia roots, WW1 scars hidden under overalls. Hired in 19, with a handshake and a steely gaze, millwright wizard. He tamed the wildest machines, threading belts and aligning shafts with the precision of a surgeon. When the Great Depression hit like a sledge in 1929, breadlines snaking city blocks and Hoovervilles sprouting like weeds, Jefferson kept his job, loyalty's reward in Ford's paternal fold. Bought a house on St. Antoine, brick solid against the storm. Raised kids, college-bound with books borrowed from the parish library. Great-grandson, a battery whiz at Ford's Innovation Lab, soldering circuits that power the EV revolution. That $5, it reborn us, says grandson Horace, in a voice thick with pride, thumbing faded photos of Jefferson in his grease-stained glory. Turned dirt farmers into dynasty builders, one bolt at a time. William Perry, the first black hire, way back in 1903. A lumber buddy of Ford himself, from Michigan woods, where axes bit deep and stories flowed freer than sap. Advisor king to the influx, Perry navigated the white maze, whispering tips on dodging pitfalls, building bridges over bigotry's chasms. Churches sprouted like oaks in Black Bottom, 4 in a square mile, steeples piercing the smog. Reverend Bradby's Second Baptist, a beacon drawing 2,000 souls Sundays. Black docks hung shingles. Lawyers argued cases in courtrooms once hostile. Grocers stocked shelves with goods from Ford-fed pockets. Inkster, that 140-acre black haven on Detroit's edge. Ford's quiet experiment. Funds poured into modest homes with running water. Schools where kids learned algebra, not just plowing. Commissaries stocked cheap with staples that stretched dollars. Perry walked those dirt roads turned paved, his shadow long as the legacy he sowed. Rhetorical punch, ever wonder, rebels. What if no $5 day lit that fuse? No black Detroit, boom. No Motown heartbeat. No families tracing roots to rouge rivets. America's map redrawn in shades of what might have been. Dark twist in this tale of triumph. That bonus, that $2.70 elixir, wasn't spilled freely. It was earned under a microscope, sharper than any lathe. Ford's sociological department spawned in 1914 like a hydra from the $5 announcement. A cadre of do-gooders turned enforcers with clipboards and clip-on badges. 250 spies, euphemism for investigators. Mostly young white men, fresh from social work schools, raided homes unannounced, knocking at dawn or dusk when guards were down. Check after check, clean floors mopped to gleam, reflecting Ford's ideal of order. Kids scrubbed and in school uniforms, books open to lessons on thrift. No booze bottles lurking in cupboards. No boarders crowding the parlor like temptations to sin. Thrift account fat with deposits from the company bank. Pass, kotching. The bonus flowed, a river of green unlocking stability. Fail. Demotion to $2.30. A plunge back to poverty's maw. Dreams deferred to dusty shelves. For blacks, it was double-edged. A sword that cut both ways in the dance of assimilation. Spies didn't just inspect, they instructed, teaching English to those whose tongues still rolled with Delta drawls. Budgeting classes where ledgers balanced hope against hunger. Americanize M. The motto etched in department manuals. Joe's visit in 16. A knock rattles the thin door of his shotgun rental. Spy eyes Mama's cornbread, cooling on the sill, golden and humble, nods at the family Bible, open to Proverbs. Good folk, bonus yours, he declares, pen scratching approval. Leaving behind pamphlets on the virtues of early bedtime, it helped the climb. These intruders turned mentors, nudging families toward savings accounts that swelled like yeast in dough. Home deeds stamped official. But invasive AF rebels, creepy as a shadow in moonlight. No renting rooms, family unit only, no vice under this roof. Desperate migrants, fresh from boxcars with kin in tow, found doors slammed on necessities. One widow lost her bonus for sheltering a nephew. Another for a late-night prayer meeting deemed too rowdy. The line blurred between uplift and control, benevolence and Big Brother. Suspense hangs thick. Did these spies crush dreams in their quest for perfection, or catapult families into orbits they never dared imagine, turning suspicion into stepping stones? By 1931, as the world teetered on depression's brink, Ford wages fed 20% of black Detroit, a lifeline in a sea of want. Homes owned, not rented, not shared, but titled deeds, clutched like talismans, sprouted in neighborhoods once barren. Model Ts parked curbside like badges of arrival, their black fenders polished Sunday mornings, Northwestern High. A black pride factory, humming with ambition. Halls echoing Latin conjugations and geometry proofs. Graduates spilling into professions that once whispered impossible. Businesses bloomed wild, salons buzzing with shears and stories, stores' shelves groaning under bolts of cloth and cans of goods. Funeral homes dignified in grief, all rooted in paychecks that planted seeds of self-reliance. 1940 rolls in, war drums distant but insistent. 12% of Ford's workforce black now. No longer shadows in the foundry but supervisors, barking orders, clipboards in hand, respect earned rivet by rivet. Ford's our Moses. Preachers thundered from pulpits paneled in oak from Perry's logging days. Parting seas of skepticism for promised lands. Great Depression, that monster with its bank runs and apple sellers. Ford waded in, buying Inkster homes at auction to keep families housed, fueling furnaces with company coal through bone-chilling winters, loans low as a friend's whisper to bridge the gaps. Hero status peaked, statues in sentiment, if not stone. Ford, the flawed pharaoh who fed his flock when pharaohs starved theirs. What if thrill races the pulse? Imagine no Ford in that equation. No $5 spark, no migration flood. Black America still chained, South plows, in furrows, instead of wrenches, in wonders dreams, deferred not just a day, but decades. Not paradise, rebels, no Eden in engine grease. Blacks stuck the dirtiest gigs, longest, foundry fumes, etching lines deeper than time. Lungs scarred, while whites climbed quicker to air-conditioned offices, redlining that venomous policy from bankers' boardrooms, boxed M in Black Bottom's confines. Deeds devalued by maps drawn in prejudice, neighborhoods starved of loans, while suburbs swelled white. Ford's strikebreaker boss in 21 and 37, pitting black desperation against white union fury, scabs crossing lines under shotgun guard, sowing seeds of resentment that bloomed bloody. Later, his anti-Semite rants in the Dearborn Independent spewed poison, pages thick with protocols, forgery, but blacks. Still hired, still paid, Ford's blind spot or calculated wedge in labor wars. The 1940s brought World War II's chaos, shortages, and empty assembly lines as soldiers shipped out. UAW is in the fight, with fists and flyers everywhere. Black workers, long cautious of white-led unions, swing the vote out of necessity. Bittersweet win, Integration Inc. drying on contracts while scars from riots lingered. 1943's blaze in Black Bottom, claiming 34 lives, 25 black. Flames fed by rumors and rage, Hastings Street ash underfoot. The $5 day, not just policy, birth of black auto wealth, a dynasty dynoed in Detroit's roar. By 1970, the city, 45% black, a mosaic of Motown melodies and mayoral mansions, tracing back to Rouge roots. Families like Jefferson's, Ford's, not footnotes, but CEOs, helming boardrooms, inventors patenting the next drive, their bloodlines a testament to wages that waged war on want. Ford Foundation, billions in endowments now, streams funding black uplift from scholarships to shelters, echoes of Inkster in every grant, lessons etched deep. High wages shatter ceilings built of bias, lifting not just boats but bloodlines across generations. Paternalism, creepy as those home raids, but effective in its era, a boot that pushed forward even as it pinned. Could Tesla pull this now? Rebels, Ilons, gigafactories in Texas, luring with 6 figures, whispering a new migration from rust belts to rocket ranges. Mystery lingers, like smoke from spent forges. Was Ford saint in overalls, or savvy profiteer, arbitraging racism turning prejudice to profit while the world turned. Your turn, rebels. Was Ford a black savior or factory overlord? Drop comments. Best story wins. Shout out. Subscribe, like, share. History's alive. Stay rebellious.